Tanya Tucker's love life has been the stuff of legend, but she's just come out with a confession about the real love of her life. And guess what? It's not the one we all thought. What kept her quiet all these years? And what was so special about this person that made her hold on to this truth for so long? Stick around, because we're peeling back the curtain on a story that's way more complicated and heartbreaking than you ever imagined. Tanya Tucker's story is like a country ballad, with all the highs and lows you'd expect from a true music legend. Born on October 10, 1958, in Seminole, Texas, she's been a powerhouse in the country music scene since her teens. With a voice that grabbed attention and a spirit that kept her going through thick and thin, Tanya's journey is nothing short of remarkable. Tanya's love for country music started early. Growing up in a family that moved around a lot, due to her dad's job as a heavy equipment operator, she spent her early years in Willcox, Arizona. The family didn't have much, but they had music. Tanya and her family were regulars at country concerts, soaking up performances by stars like Ernest Tubb and Mel Tillis. It was here that Tanya, just 8 years old, announced to her dad that she wanted to be a country singer. It wasn't a passing fancy. She was serious, and her determination showed from the start. When the Tuckers moved to St. George, Utah, Tanya's mom, Juanita, took a chance by taking Tanya to audition for a role in the film Jeremiah Johnson. Although Tanya didn't land the major part she was after, she and her horse got a small role in the film, marking her first step into the spotlight. Around the same time, Tanya got another big break. Her dad drove the family to Phoenix for the Arizona State Fair, hoping to catch the eye of country singer Judy Lynn. Tanya's impromptu performance won her a spot in the fair's entertainment lineup, and the rest, as they say, is history. By the time Tanya was a teenager, she was making waves. She caught the eye of Mel Tillis, who invited her on stage after hearing her sing. That moment was a huge boost, and it wasn't long before she performed regularly in Henderson, Nevada. Her talent was undeniable, and it caught the attention of songwriter Dolores Fuller. Fuller sent Tanya's demo tape to Billy Sherrill, a big name at CBS Records, and Sherrill was blown away. He signed Tanya to Columbia Records, and the rest is music history. In 1972, at just 13 years old, Tanya released her first hit, Delta Dawn. The song was a smash hit and put her on the map as a rising star. What's remarkable is how Tanya managed to keep her audience as she grew up, a feat not many child stars achieve. Over the years, she racked up a string of top 10 and top 40 hits, proving that her talent was here to stay. In the early 1970s, Tanya Tucker's career took off in a way that seemed almost magical. Picture this. It's 1972, and Tanya is just 13 years old. She's ready to make her mark, and the song Delta Dawn is about to be her ticket to stardom. Billy Sherrill, the influential producer, had initially hoped Tanya would record The Happiest Girl in the Whole USA. But Tanya had other plans. She was drawn to Delta Dawn, a hauntingly beautiful song she'd heard Bette Midler sing on The Tonight Show. It was a bold choice, especially since Donna Fargo, the writer of The Happiest Girl in the Whole USA, was also releasing her own version of the song. But Tanya's gamble paid off. When Delta Dawn was released in May 1972, it became an instant hit, soaring to number 6 on the country charts and making a splash on the pop charts. Columbia Records initially tried to downplay Tanya's youth, but word spread quickly, and she became a sensation almost overnight. Tanya herself reflected on the significance of Delta Dawn with a mix of gratitude and wonder. In a 1988 interview with 901 Network magazine, she said, "I thank the lucky stars and the good Lord for that song. If I cut it now for the first time, I think it would be a hit. I was fortunate to have latched onto that one, and that was all Cheryl's doing. If it hadn't been for Cheryl, I probably would have been a rodeo queen or something." Her words capture the essence of her awe and appreciation for the turning point that Delta Dawn represented in her life. The momentum didn't stop there. Tanya's second single, Love's the Answer, also made waves, landing in the top 10 later that same year. And then came her third single, What's Your Mama's Name?, which rocketed to #1 in the spring of 1973. Tanya was officially a major star. Hits like Blood Red and Goin' Down and Would You Lay With Me, in a Field of Stone, cemented her place at the top of the charts and showcased her incredible range and depth as an artist. By 1975, Tanya had signed with MCA Records, and the hits kept rolling. Tracks like Lizzie and the Rain Man reached #1 on the country charts, and even cracked the top 40 on the pop charts. Her success continued with other top 10 hits like San Antonio Stroll, Here's Some Love, and It's a Cowboy Lovin' Night. Tanya was on a roll, but the road was about to get a lot bumpier. In 1978, Tanya made a dramatic shift in her career with her album TNT. This wasn't just a new record, it was a reinvention. She embraced a rockier edge and a bolder image, which sparked controversy. Despite the uproar, TNT went gold, and singles like I'm a Singer, You're the Song, and Texas, When I Die became hits. Yet, beneath the glittering success, Tanya faced personal battles that began to overshadow her career. By the late 1970s and into the early 1980s, Tanya's career was in decline. Despite a few hits in 1980 and a notable duet with Glenn Campbell, she struggled with diminishing sales and increasing personal challenges. Her life off stage was increasingly turbulent. Tanya had begun drinking heavily in her late teens, finding solace in alcohol amid the loneliness and the grind of constant touring. She described her life during this time as being on the ragged edge, indulging in the wild nightlife of Los Angeles and often spiraling into self-destructive behavior. Her attempts to broaden her appeal to pop audiences in Los Angeles didn't quite pan out, and she faced a harsh reality when her music started to lose traction on the radio. By 1983, her singles were failing to make the top 40, and she struggled to regain her footing. In 1986, Tanya Tucker was ready to make a grand comeback. After years of personal struggles and a career that had seen its share of highs and lows, she signed with Capitol Records and stepped back into the spotlight with a renewed sense of purpose. Her single, One Love at a Time, became the anthem of her revival, climbing to #3 on the charts and signaling a major turning point in her career. The timing couldn't have been better. That same year, she released Girls Like Me, an album that breathed new life into her career. It featured 4 top 10 country singles, which helped re-establish her as a major force in the country music world. The album's success marked a major comeback, and it was clear that Tanya was back in a big way. Her resurgence continued into 1988, a banner year for Tucker. She scored 3 #1 country singles, I Won't Take Less Than Your Love, a collaboration with Paul Davis and Paul Overstreet, If It Don't Come Easy, and Strong Enough to Bend. This was a significant moment for Tanya, as it showcased her evolution into a more country pop style with upbeat, catchy tunes. Fans and critics alike responded positively, and it was clear that Tanya was once again on top of her game. During this period, Tanya experienced one of the most successful times of her career. Between 1988 and 1989, she enjoyed a remarkable run, with 8 consecutive singles landing in the top 10. Her albums were achieving gold status, meaning they had sold over 500,000 copies each. It was a thrilling time for Tanya and her fans, who had witnessed her incredible comeback. Her greatest hits album, released in 1989, was a testament to her success. It featured a new single, My Arms Stay Open All Night, which peaked at number 2 on the charts. This period also saw Tanya earning a nomination for Female Vocalist of the Year from the Country Music Association in 1988. In 1991, she won the award, although she missed the event because she had just given birth to her second child. Despite the personal and professional upheavals, Tanya's music continued to resonate strongly with audiences. The early 1990s were especially fruitful for Tanya. She had 8 consecutive top 10 hits, including popular tracks like Down to My Last Teardrop, Without You, What Do I Do With Me, and Two Sparrows in a Hurricane. Even though she didn't reach number 1 during this time, many of her singles were close, landing in the top 5 and top 10. Tanya was firmly established as one of country music's leading female artists, proving her longevity in the industry. Her album, Greatest Hits, 1990 to 1992, rose to number 15 on the charts, and it also went to number 18 on the Top Country Albums chart. This was a significant achievement, especially since it came at a time when she was consolidating her place in the country music landscape. Liberty Records was rebranded as Capitol Nashville in 1994, marking another milestone in her career. In 1994, Tanya released Hangin' In, which became her last top 5 hit for a while. That year, she performed at Super Bowl XXVIII's halftime show, a major milestone that underscored her mainstream appeal. By 1996, she was one of the most played artists of the year and Capitol Records' biggest female artist. Her return to the top 10 came in 1997 with Little Things, which peaked at number 9. That same year, she was inducted into the Texas Country Music Hall of Fame, a fitting tribute to her long and influential career. The early 2000s saw Tanya taking control of her career in new ways. In 2002, she founded Tucker Time Records, which allowed her to manage her recording process and release music on her terms. Her first album in 5 years, Tanya, was released through Capitol Records, marking her return to recording after a brief hiatus. Tanya's continued relevance was evident when she was ranked number 20 on CMT's 40 Greatest Women of Country Music in 2002. In 2005, she released Live at Billy Bob's Texas, capturing her vibrant live performance energy. She also contributed to a Bob Wills tribute album and published a book, 100 Ways to Beat the Blues, offering advice from her famous friends like Willie Nelson and Burt Reynolds. In 2007, Tanya recorded an album called Lonesome Town, but it never saw a formal release. The same year, she collaborated with Billy Joe Shaver on his album and performed in a live concert. Although the Lonesome Town project was shelved, Tanya continued to work on new material. The year 2009 marked another phase in Tanya's career when she signed a one-time deal with Saguaro Road Records from Time Life. This led to the release of My Turn, her first cover album. Featuring classics like Love's Gonna Live Here, the album placed number 27 on the Billboard country charts. The album was well received and showed that Tanya's voice still had the power to captivate audiences with timeless country hits. In 2012, Tanya appeared on Terry Clark's album Classic, where she revisited her first single, Delta Dawn, in a duet. This collaboration was a nod to her enduring influence in the genre. June 2017 brought Tanya back into the spotlight when she was featured in Rolling Stone as one of the 100 greatest country artists of all time. It was a significant acknowledgement of her contributions to the genre. Following the death of her former flame Glenn Campbell in August 2017, Tanya released Forever Loving You, a tribute song. Although the release faced some criticism for timing, Tanya claimed that a portion of the proceeds would benefit the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. However, the foundation later stated it was not involved in the promotion or received any funds from the song. In 2019, Tanya released While I'm Livin', her first collection of original material since 2002. Co-produced with Shooter Jennings and Brandi Carlile, the album marked a new chapter in her career. The single, Bring My Flowers Now, received critical acclaim and earned Tanya her first 2 Grammy Awards in January 2020. The release of Live from the Troubadour in October 2020 showcased her performance prowess and continued relevance. In a 2021 interview with Rolling Stone, Tanya revealed she was working on a follow-up to While I'm Livin' with Carlile and Jennings. The collaboration with RuPaul on This Is Our Country in September 2021 added another exciting chapter to her career. Finally, in April 2023, Tanya announced her new studio album, Sweet Western Sound. Produced with Brandi Carlile and Shooter Jennings, the album was released in June 2023. The first single, Kindness, offered a glimpse into the album's theme and showcased Tanya's enduring talent and ability to evolve with the times. Now let's talk about Tanya's personal life, including her high-profile breakup with Glenn Campbell that added to the strain. She moved back to Nashville in search of a more grounded existence and eventually began leading a more secluded life. The turning point came in 1988, when her family intervened and encouraged her to seek help. Tanya entered the Betty Ford Center, marking the beginning of a long road to recovery. In recent interviews, she's opened up about their time together, revealing a blend of deep affection and real challenges. Let's get into what Tanya has shared about her love for Glenn Campbell and how their relationship shaped her life. Tanya Tucker has always been pretty upfront about her complicated love life, especially when it comes to Glenn Campbell. She's called him definitely the love of my life, but the road they traveled together wasn't exactly smooth. When she reflects on their relationship, it's clear that it was a whirlwind of passion and difficulty. "I will have to take a lot of that," she said, acknowledging that her youth played a big role in how things unfolded. "I was very young and knew how to push the buttons." Sometimes, when you're young, love can be overwhelming, and Tucker admits she might have been too inexperienced to handle such a deep connection. Their relationship wasn't just about love, it was also about struggle. Campbell had a hard time with addiction, and Tucker tried to help him get clean. "I was trying to help him get off drugs, and when I was trying to help him, then I got on them," she admitted. It was the 1980s, and the party scene was a big part of Hollywood. "Everybody was doing it," she said, reflecting on how the culture of the time contributed to her own troubles. It wasn't just a personal struggle, it was part of a larger, chaotic era. Despite the difficulties, Tucker still holds a special place in her heart for Campbell when he was sober. "I know how he is when he's straight, and you can't find a better person," she said. This complicated mix of love and pain shows just how deep her feelings were, even when the relationship wasn't working out. The struggles didn't stop with her relationship with Campbell. Tucker's career took a hit during this period. She found herself in a tough spot, dealing with a drinking problem and struggling to find work. "I was out in California, and I was in between record deals," she said. She didn't quite know what to do next, which led to a rebellious phase. Her dad had to step in and give her a nudge. "My dad came out and physically moved me from L.A. back to Nashville," Tucker recalled. It was a big move, but one that turned out to be crucial for her. Her dad's approach was pretty blunt. He told her, "Nobody wants you now. Your record label Poison. Nobody wants to sign you. Ouch, right? But this tough love motivated Tucker to prove herself. Her father set up a meeting with Capitol Records, and Tucker went in with honesty. I said I've done some things I'm not proud of and you know about, and there's been a bunch of things that I didn't do that I've been accused of, she said. This honesty resonated with the folks at Capitol Records, and they decided to give her another shot. This led to her big comeback with the hit, One Love at a Time. One Love at a Time was the one that got me back up there with a #1 record, she said, celebrating how this song marked the start of her resurgence. The 80s and 90s were a time of bouncing back for Tucker, with hits like Another Love and I Won't Take Less Than Your Love, bringing her back into the spotlight. Bam, 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 and you're back, she said, reflecting on how quickly things turned around. As she moved into the early 90s, Tucker's success continued. She kept releasing hits like Strong Enough to Bend and I'm Down to My Last Teardrop, showing that her comeback wasn't just a fluke. I've had so many terrific songs, she said. If she had to choose just one song to be remembered for, it would be Delta Dawn. She didn't hesitate when asked. Delta Dawn will always be my favorite song, she said, explaining how it's a track that feels like it was meant to be part of her journey. It's sentimental and holds a special place in her heart, symbolizing the beginning of her career. Tucker's story isn't just about her career and relationships. It's also about her personal growth and the influence of her family. She credits her dad for much of her success and guidance. My dad is the soul to me. I give him all the credit, she said. She reflects on how his support and advice helped her navigate the rough patches in her life. I think if I had listened a lot more during those times when my life kind of went off the track, I wouldn't have some of the problems I had later on. Even though she's faced her share of challenges, Tucker remains grounded and reflective. She often thinks about her parents and her desire to make a positive impact. I miss my parents. I really do every day, she said. She also has big dreams for the future, like working in an orphanage in Africa and helping with elephant conservation. There are so many things I want to do, and I'm running out of time to do them, she said with a touch of frustration. When it comes to what makes her angry these days, Tucker keeps things simple. There really isn't a whole lot of things that make me angry, she said. She tries to focus on the positives and find happiness in everyday moments. I'm happiest there with my kids, doing something simple, she said, mentioning how her children, horses and dogs, bring joy to her life. So while closing the book, we can say that Tanya Tucker's reflections on her past, particularly her relationship with Glenn Campbell, offer a raw and honest look at her life. Her story is one of love, struggle, and resilience. Despite the ups and downs, Tucker has found her way back to success and personal fulfillment. Do you think Tanya Tucker could have pulled off such an incredible comeback if she'd stayed in the shadows? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this Tanya's epic journey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up.